Are you a dragonborn, something less or something more? Is it only you that holds the key to something special? Or are you one of many potential destroyer of worlds, destroyer of planets and moons? The one who will save or unleash destruction on the settled systems? Or do you belong to a line of nobodies, average Joe and plain Jane?
Let's talk about you. Let's talk about humble beginnings. Careful now. Potential spoilers ahead.
Let's talk about you.
A Redditor by the name of Exo Soldier theorized how the opening scenes are likely to play out. Who you are, your baseline, what you do, and how you set up the chain of events that led to this.
Welcome to Constellation. We have a lot to talk about.
I'll be adding a lot of my thoughts to this as well, but shout out to the soldier for getting me thinking. Link to the original post in the description. On the character creator screen, the first two things to note are your biometric ID on the top left and employee number straight at the bottom, which indicates we're currently working under someone, and that someone or entity is Argos Extractors, which you can see on the top left corner, just above the record locator. While the company's profile hasn't been shared, we can deduce or common sense would tell us that this is a company that engages in extracting minerals such as oil and gas by drilling or mining. And we're going to stick with mining because there's numerous evidence in the showcase to back this up. One being this. Your character has the right tools to extract minerals, and switching to the scanner tells you exactly what a miner would need to know in order to extract. Namely fauna, flora, resources, the percentage of the environment scanned, and of course, the actual mineral, iron. Do you follow? It's not the type of gadgets Jack and Jill would have, but one an extracting company such as Argos would. But there's more supporting evidence and one that actually ties back to the story. Have a look at some of these clips. There's a high probability that introduction to this universe actually takes place in one of these caves. We see a couple of miners doing what they do, and of course if you aren't a miner, you would have no reason to be here in the first place. But we all agree on that established baseline. You are a miner. The next point to note is when addressing you, one of your colleagues or potential companions states,
"Most Dusties don't even make it this far."
Most Dusties don't even make it this far. And as Soldier from Reddit theorized, when she says this far, she's likely referring to going deeper into the cave, as most freshies normally wouldn't. Most freshies normally wouldn't even have the experience to deal with complicated tasks such as this. But here you are. Maybe homie Mario and Luigi called in sick, Popo and Nana were on leave, maybe someone got injured earlier on, or maybe you just needed the cash. Regardless, down you go. And we know it's going deeper into the mines because we can clearly see all the characters are on an elevator. To actually hone this new guy talking, we're going to fast forward a bit and listen to this extract between a member of Constellation and our peers.
So, you found something?
The new guy found it.
Did you catch that?
The new guy found it.
Are we on the same page?
Confirmed.
Moving on. Going back to the scenes at the cave, at some point you either get separated from your colleagues or maybe you wandered off alone for whatever reason. Maybe the rope snapped and you ended up deeper into the cave. And while you're looking for an escape route, something catches your attention. And it's that curiosity, that single touch, that sets all this in motion. Your story. Welcome to Constellation.
We have a lot to talk about.
Let's take a step back. The white light you've just seen is likely the stars or an end to a vision. It showed you something, and it's likely something you're not able to make sense of. It's at that point where you leave the cave with your comrades via rescue or at your own accord. You're then soon greeted by a member of Constellation, who queries you on the artifact you encountered and the visions.
You dug up the artifact, right? That means you saw it. The visions?
But before much information is relayed, welcome Crimson Fleet. Chaos and combat. Breathe. You're alive.
But Mr. Constellation isn't.
And his ship is now yours. This could be the case of Grand Theft Auto, or he might have just transferred ownership of his vessel to you and informed Vasco to ensure Constellation is aware of the situation, and of course, to aid you in whatever you need.
Bonus point or side point.
Looking at the original trailers, there's clips and pictures with different locations and timelines. I'm starting to think this signifies Vasco's relationship with his original companion, and not you. Why anyone would do this with a machine is beyond me. Unless...
Does this human
have a soul?
Yes. Yes, it does.
We'll see. Now I'm going to pull back and theorize a little bit for a second. How did a member of Constellation know exactly where we are? My thinking is there are numerous artifacts around and each ones are somewhat connected. As a result, it's possible that you're not the only one who's special. It's possible someone out there is actually connected to you in some way, shape or form. Multiple people actually. Or maybe the artifacts gives off a distinct signal and this member of Constellation just happened to be nearby. Regardless, he gets there in good time. A little bit too fast, which leads me to also believe the members of the Crimson Fleet and Constellation have somewhat of a vague idea where some of these artifacts are. It was one of them that hired Argos Extractors to actually mine and locate said artifact. They just didn't foresee one of the miners touching and interacting with it. Once again, how did both get there in good time? Well, it's possible you were actually trapped in the cave for a good few days. You're miners, so you and your team more than likely had the tools to survive. That gave both parties enough time to actually reach you. But the key thing is, you get the ship, you get Vasco, and that's the step out moment. All these events leading to one moment.
Welcome to Constellation. We have a lot to talk about.
Because whatever lies at the end of this road will change humanity forever.